Hello, and welcome to Season 2 of Nerd Variety, the podcast where we discuss everything nerd and everything variety.
Everything.
And those things combined.
Everything
variety.
Everything the light touches.
Yes. What about those darts? Never mind, we're not going to get that. Okay, so I am Hunter, or Zab, or that person with that face. And over here, I don't remember. I should stop trying to point. First of all, like, most of where we are is not YouTube, so people can't see anyway. But to my side, supposedly, in the video, is Hannah.
Hello. I also go by Hey Lady.
Yeah. And the third one, who is below me on my screen, is...
I am.
What's your name?
Oh, hi. I'm Josh. I also go by Renegade or the Captain, if you prefer.
You just have to see the eyes. You have to see just the eyes. He always looks angry. Only a few people will get that reference. But, okay. So, it's a new year. It's a new season. It's a new everything. And like we ended last year with a wrap-up, we will start this year with a discussion of what we're looking forward to in 2020. At least, probably for the whole year, but this season will only cover the first half of the year. Yeah. We'll get into the next half when we get to the second half. So, today we're talking about new original movies, television shows, and games. And then we're also going to be discussing a bit later some continuations. So new seasons, new sequels.
Spoiler warning.
Franchises, all that.
A lot of big movies coming out this year are continuations. Surprise, surprise. I know. I'm sure everyone is shocked.
They still make sequels?
I know. Yeah. Yeah, every now and then.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, what do we want to start with? We should have like a roulette wheel to see just what we start with. Okay. What did it land on, Hannah?
TV shows.
Okay. Let's do TV shows first. And that's leading the way with Josh.
All right. Everybody pull out your remote controls, or if you still have a TV with the dials on it, let's look at the TV shows, the new ones for 2020. Let's see. We got a new Walking Dead spinoff. Walking Dead World Beyond. Any stabs at what it could be about?
A new world.
Aliens.
I don't know if I want to see aliens.
I haven't watched that
zombies.
Walking Dead.
How about zombies?
No, you have not.
How about zombies? Is it going to be about zombies?
I think so. It's called Walking Dead World Beyond, and it's actually set 10 years after the first big outbreak started.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this will be a kind of it'll be definitely a departure from the other shows. One was set right after the outbreak started. The other one was like a short time after. And so now we're dealing with 10 years later. How has the world changed? What societies have come up out of the ashes? Are there still zombies there? Because
I was going to say, I feel like it's going to be interesting to see, because I feel like even in the original series, they pretty quickly departed from, like, zombies are the threat to more, like, other humans are the threat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. And, that's what was interesting, but it also feels like they are continuing that in this, from what I could tell from the trailers. The whole, like, people are the big threat, but you still have zombies. It's just kind of a new danger to live with. Which I think is really I think that's a really good way to build that world and to set it up. But I'm interested. I probably won't watch it. I might watch like the first or something. But I didn't really watch much of Fear the Walking Dead.
Yeah, I started watching Fear. I watched the first season. And then they had, I think the first season 2, they were stuck on a boat, and that kind of pulled me out of it a little bit. I mean, you get some interesting stories about, how do you survive the zombie apocalypse based off where you are. But I think 10 years later they'll have some good stories to tell. Yeah. another new show, which is kind of a continuation of a movie, is Snowpiercer. Have you guys seen Snowpiercer? It came out 2013, 2014.
Yeah, I remember hearing about it. I never saw it though.
Yeah, it was. It had Chris Evans as the lead role, and he was on a train that and a very somewhat high tech train, because it was able to hold all the most of the surviving members of humanity that they knew of on a train after humanity had caused a climate crisis and created a new ice age. And so it dealt with a lot of had the poor people in the caboose and in the later cars, and as you moved up, it went to middle class and went to upper class, and there was a lot of shady stuff going on and a lot of secrets and mysteries. But this is going to take place 7 years after the snowpocalypse that happened. It's going to be airing on TNT.
We had a snowpocalypse in Georgia, like 3 years ago.
It's always a snowpocalypse whenever it snows in Georgia.
Yeah, exactly.
Will we ever learn?
Never.
No,
we don't have enough snow.
No, it's like a something we just can't remember. Like people who drink too much. It's like, oh, I'm never drinking again. Whatever, man.
Or every basic white girl when it becomes fall. It's like, oh my God, the leaves are changing color.
They do that?
That happens every year.
I didn't know that.
Ooh, it's cool. Let me get a jacket.
Oh my God, it gets cold.
New comic book shows, of course. There's on DC. There's a Stargirl.
Wait, I'm sorry. I thought we were trying to separate continuations and new content. Are we starting new content right now? Or
yeah, I was doing new content. These are new. These are new content. This is new because they aren't. I guess they're spin-offs, or they're based off something that hasn't. These were based off something that hasn't had a show before.
Okay. Yeah, I was just I couldn't remember because it sounded like I think you phrased the other one as the Snowpiercer is like a continuation of a movie. So I was just like, wait, what?
Well, it's it's actually a prequel to before the movie.
Right. But it's a new show. So okay, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a new show.
It's not been a show before, but now it is a show.
Yes. But new shows, DC comic shows, Stargirl is going to follow Courtney Whitmore, I guess, discovering the Justice Society and starting and I guess leading new and old heroes. I think it's going to air on CW and maybe DC Universe. We'll see what they decide on that. They're kept out. I think they were wanting it on DC Universe. They decided to put it on CW, which may or may not be. Which I guess they're looking at viewership. Superman and Lois is a new show coming out on CW as well. It's going to follow those two characters, and should have some surprises in store too, with some characters and showing. Especially if you watched Crisis on Infinite Earths, you'll see that there'll be some. It won't be if you didn't watch that, you might see some surprises that you weren't ready for.
Is that a remake, or am I thinking of a different show?
You're thinking of Lois and Clark. That show aired in the 90s with Dean Cain and Terry Hatcher.
Okay.
So this is it's been what?
So is it an entirely different concept of a show, or is it like a remake?
It's sort of a spin-off from Supergirl because it's going to be the Superman from the Supergirl show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool.
Him, Lois Lane, and a couple other related characters. And then there's a new show called Why.
What's that about?
Why? I was going to say, I was waiting for a why joke, but anyway.
No, I figured that was too obvious.
Yeah, it was. It's actually the letter Y, and it's based off a comic chronicling the last man on Earth. The Y chromosome.
Yeah, I've heard about that. That's another one I've heard about and seen some stuff of, but I never read any of it.
Yeah, different than the last man on Earth. That was a comedy show that I think that aired back in 2015. But this is like he is the last male on Earth, and he's trying to figure out if he should try to link up with the rest of society who is female, or should he just kind of keep on his own? Definitely a lot of questions that will arise. Like, how did he become the last man on Earth? What is his role in society now as the only guy? But I'm looking forward to checking that out.
Yeah.
And of course, the flagship Marvel shows, Falcon and Winter Soldier is airing this year in the fall. It's going to follow the Falcon
and the Winter Soldier.
And the Winter Soldier, yes. After the Falcon has received the Captain America's shield, and it's supposed to have, if you haven't seen Endgame yet, which I must ask, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
If you care about Endgame, you should have seen it by now.
If you care about spoilers, you would have seen it by now. So.
Yeah. And they surprised us this year by announcing WandaVision is coming out earlier than 2021. It was originally scheduled to air next year before Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, but they're releasing it this year. I guess to kind of have some more MCU content this year.
I think to try to balance out with the content that's releasing next year for the MCU, because it was really lopsided. It was going to be a lot of stuff next year, not much this year. So, Are they going to be, because that's supposed to tie into the new Doctor Strange, right? So are they moving up Doctor Strange at all?
No, that movie's still airing next year. I think they're just trying to keep give themselves some more content for this year, and then because next year they have a lot of stuff coming out.
Yeah. So do you know if it's going to be a weird gap, between that, and you think it might be it might not work how they originally planned because of pushing it up, that, the WandaVision might not lead into that as well because it won't be as fresh, or what? Do you think they're going to try to work around that?
It's hard to say because they haven't really revealed what the show is going to be about. I mean, we know there's going to be some familiar MCU characters in the show. We know it looks like it's going to be, Wanda and Vision being together. It might be based off the Vision comics. I'm not sure, but I think they'll have a good premise, and they'll have something to keep us kind of like holding our breath until next year for Doctor Strange.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's cool. That's what we got for new shows this year. Hannah, how about you tell us about some new movies this year?
So we're looking for new movies, because most of what I have available is stuff that is continuations and sequels and yada yada yada.
Well, if you don't have much, I can maybe mention a few things, and or if you have things to mention, we can just make it a brief segment and save most of your stuff.
I'm gonna go ahead and say 5 general things, right? So we're supposedly getting 2 new Pixar movies this year.
Yes.
Completely new, not based on any of the old ones.
Nice.
I've seen some trailers. They look really cool. So always looking forward to good stuff from Pixar. We have some new horror stuff, which I didn't really write down any of the names specifically, because I feel like horror, if it's not related to a previous thing, I don't know, do we care? I don't know. Do we know if it's going to be good before it comes out? Probably not. So, even if it is good, good horror still gets terrible reviews. So, it's just kind of, if you're into it, there's a lot of interesting looking horror coming out this year.
Yeah, actually, speaking of that so I'm pretty sure New Mutants is slated for this year, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
So I kind of set that in I wasn't kind of sure how to classify that, because it's a continuation of the X-Men ideal, but it seems like it's a new universe, so it's kind of its own thing. And I have a superheroes category, but I also have a horror category, but it seems like it's both.
Yeah.
So, I'm freaking excited.
It seems more like a new thing than a continuation.
Agree. Definitely, because it is kind of that weird juxtaposition of superheroes and horror, from what I can tell. And I always love the X-Men series, so I'm really excited to see what they do with that. And hopefully it's better than, I don't know, I guess you could consider X-Men having its own phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 at this point.
Oh yeah.
But more disjointed.
Maybe
right?
not
You had the
as
original
much,
stuff.
Yeah.
But we had like the original stuff with Patrick Stewart, and then we had the newer stuff, and then now we have new stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't have any of the original X-Men characters we've seen saying already. These guys, these are, new kids, new mutants, and it's a new premise. I think they'll be using like things we've heard before,
sure,
and some tropes we've seen before, but it's going to be, I guess, and it's also going to be like Fox X-Men from Fox is the last one we'll see from them. Until MCU decides to starts making their own stuff.
Yeah. So it seems like a really new, interesting take on that same sort of universe. I'm really excited for it because we had Dark Phoenix come out it was last year, right? Which was really not that great. So I'm hoping that they can redeem themselves a little bit. Yeah. And I'm hoping that taking the franchise in a new direction will give it some new life.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. The only other kind of new stuff that's going on is, it again falls into that weird category of like, it's new for a movie, but previously a video game. I know we're all super excited about Sonic the Hedgehog, right?
I am, actually.
Yeah.
I have very conflicting feelings.
I will go watch it.
Let's say I'm interested in seeing how it works out.
Yeah. I'm not going to pay $14 for a ticket, but I might go to like a matinee on a Tuesday.
Right.
It's fair.
Right.
But yeah, I think.
Although I said the same thing about Detective Pikachu, and I still haven't seen that. So
I haven't seen that either.
It's a fun movie.
I know. I need to see that one.
It's good. If you like Pokemon at all, go watch the movie. You'll have see some old stuff and some weird stuff for kids, obviously, but it's still a good watch.
And then either later this year or next year, I was getting like mixed messages. We're gonna hopefully be seeing Uncharted, which I think is gonna. I think it's got really good potential for moving to the big screen well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the only problem with it that I tend to have is that, like, if you played the games, it already kind of feels like a movie in itself. So
true.
Yeah,
they can't just try to take what the game did and make it a movie. They have to do something different.
Right.
Like they have to make it totally original, because otherwise it's pretty pointless in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And in terms of quality, I feel like it could go like more towards the Tomb Raider side of things, where it's like or it could go more towards like the Indiana Jones side of things, and those are pretty good movies.
Yeah.
So I'm very positive. There's
a little bit of risk with releasing something like that.
Yeah. And historically, movies based on video games just don't do that well.
And I mean, I would wonder if mass audiences would just start to feel like it's Tomb Raider, but with a guy, because there've obviously been 3 Tomb Raider movies now. Obviously, there's the Angelina Jolie ones, and now there's the more recent one.
Yeah,
a couple years ago or so.
But that one didn't take off. I like they hoped it would.
No.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like groundbreaking or super unique.
Yeah.
And again, I honestly, with that movie, that Tomb Raider movie, they kind of did what I was just talking about. They shouldn't do with Uncharted. They kind of just it felt like they made just the rebooted video game into a movie, pretty much.
Yeah.
It didn't have a lot of unique flair to it.
Yeah. So I think it has a lot of potential for being on the big screen, but I fingers crossed. That's all I'm going to say about that. Yeah. But otherwise, not much else coming out that's new. There's like some dramas and stuff. But
there's along the lines of video games, I did see 2 others that were, one has a video game as the premise. Free Guy, start with Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Yeah, he plays an NPC.
I know nothing about that.
He plays an NPC character, and he realizes that he breaks his the flow that he's in, or his route, and he starts kind of doing his own thing in the game, which is mind blowing for everyone else that's playing, especially if you're playing Skyrim and the character that you usually buy things from decided to pulls out a giant warhammer and chases you down and then shouts at you. What do you do?
That feels like something that would happen in Skyrim, though. I'm just saying.
Not, I mean, no,
NPCs will fight back if you do stuff.
They will, but no one's gonna suspect that the innkeeper is also can also shit you shouts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also a Dragonborn.
Yeah.
There's also the Monster Hunter film based off the game.
I haven't heard anything about that. That's interesting.
Yeah. I think it comes out a little later in the year, but that's something to keep an eye out for.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. So it's a few things. So, how about we start moving into video games? So I was actually just thinking, I don't know why I didn't think of this earlier, but, because I'm the one that made the list of this stuff. I didn't realize how many games that I was going to talk about are just continuations. So we do have a few big new releases this year, original concepts that I'm super excited for. One, I'm getting really hesitant about. It's the Marvel's Avengers game, which was announced a while ago, and last year I think we got our first look at it for a bit. It looks really good, but it also looks like it might take after a lot of really not so great games, and it looks like it may just be all Flash, but not a lot of substance.
Flash is DC.
All right, we're gonna mute Hannah now.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah, I mean, if you've seen some of the gameplay for it, it looks like there might be a lot of story, but even the story, I don't know if that's gonna be like a super new, or if it's just gonna be telling some like classic, like some main themes that you see a lot in comic books. And then the gameplay, it may be really good. It may be like, Spider-Man, like 2018 Spider-Man. It may be awesome. Or it may be just kind of a standard. You have a lot of different characters that have some things, like their own unique moves technically, but it may feel really light and just kind of like your standard run through a level, beat up some enemies, do the next thing, and then watch a cinematic and stuff, which I'm really hoping it's not, but it looks like it has that potential, which, yeah, it makes me nervous. But anyways, we'll see when it comes out, so that should be really cool. The biggest one that I'm excited about this year that's finally releasing, I've been waiting so long, is Cyberpunk 2077. It's by CD Projekt Red. If you know anything about them, they did the Witcher games, and I don't know what else, if they've done anything else. I'm sure they have, but those games are fantastic. This game was announced so long ago, I don't even remember when, and it looks incredible.
Before E3 last year?
It was announced way before then.
Okay.
It was announced probably like 2015, 2016. Yeah. So, and they've been showing some trailers and stuff, more and more footage over time. It's going to have Keanu Reeves in it, which is going to be really cool. And it just looks like a really awesome game. It looks so weird. I don't know entirely what to expect, but I'm expecting awesomeness. Let's say that. Right. It's very open. And given the quality and the open world that they created with The Witcher 3, I'm expecting great things with Cyberpunk 2077. I don't know what else is new and like original this year. Skull and Bones is slated for this year currently, but it's been pushed back so many times. I don't even know that it's going to be this year. I was excited for it at first, but it may not be. Gods and Monsters looks really interesting. Haven't seen a lot of like gameplay for that, but it's by the people who did Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And that game was great, but just not necessarily as an Assassin's Creed game. You could tell that they probably just put a lot of what it didn't feel like Assassin's Creed, and what did feel like it felt a little forced because of that. So it'll be interesting to see what they do when they have, less restrictions on doing like a Greek mythology kind of game. So that'll be cool. And besides that, I think most other things are a continuation that I haven't mentioned already in my honorable mentions video.
Well, then do you want to pick up with your continuations? We'll go the other way around.
Sure. Also, we just got Dragon Ball Z Kakarot today, the day of recording. I haven't played. I was going to, but I don't really have money right now. So, yeah.
I I will follow along with someone who is probably going to get it as soon as it comes out.
It came out today.
Oh, it did. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So as soon as they get it, and it looks like it's kind of like an RPG that it follows the story of Dragon Ball.
And you don't just play as Goku. Who would have thought in a game with his name in it, specifically? So that'll be interesting. Okay, so now in terms of continuations, there are quite a few that I'm excited for. They haven't really yet officially announced the new Assassin's Creed game, but we all kind of know that there's going to be one this year. Yep. When they announce it, who knows if it's going to be at E3 or before that. I don't know. But supposedly it's going to be called Ragnarok, or that's the name we're hearing, and it's going to be supposedly Viking setting. But so that'll be interesting, especially, since they did For Honor a couple years back.
It's hard to see a Viking assassinating someone.
Yeah, not really their style, is it?
Yeah, probably not all really that subtle, but sneak up on them.
Two-handed axe assassination. Yeah, weird.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, Assassin's Creed Odyssey wasn't really it was stealthy if you chose to do that, but not necessarily. Other than that, we got Ori and the Will of the Wisps, which I'm excited about. It actually took me forever to get around to Ori and the Blind Forest, but I just recently beat it, and I like it a lot. I'm super excited for the next one. We have Half-Life Alyx, I think is what it's called. Yeah. It's like a VR thing. It's not Half-Life 3, but it's like a prequel, I think.
We got some hopes up if we
Yeah.
Sorry.
Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm not super interested in that personally. I've never been a Final Fantasy person, but I know a lot of people are looking forward to that. Neo 2. I played the some of the beta for that, and I really found it very enjoyable. I actually I played that before I played any of the first Neo, but then I got it on PlayStation when it was free. I like Neo 2 a lot better so far from the tiny bit that I've played, and it has good potential, great potential. Oh, also, sorry, I can't believe this slipped my mind for new games. Elden Ring. Speaking of that, that's going to be the new From Software game this year. Written by the world and everything. A lot of that writing was done by George R.R. Martin. And Hidetaka Miyazaki is a fantastic game designer, writer, and everything. So he's going to be the working on that too, obviously.
So you're going to get halfway through the game, and then your character's going to die, and you have to take control of the character that you hate the most.
Probably. It'll be interesting. I'm super excited. I don't know that we know a lot about it yet in terms of how the gameplay is going to be, but it's going to be difficult or challenging since it's From Software. That should not be a surprise. Also got Doom Eternal coming out as a continuation, so that's a follow-up to 2016's reboot of Doom. So this one's it looks like so much bigger, badder. They just dropped a new trailer this week, I think. Looks to be super intense.
You go to super hell. You go to super hell and kill super demons.
Yeah, and you get a sword, like a laser sword thing.
That's my favorite thing in games.
Yes.
I love a sword.
I see a thing about a new Animal Crossing. I've heard a lot of hype for that. It's not really my thing personally. But, there. And then we got, of course, the Resident Evil 3 remake, which looks awesome. I'm partway through the Resident Evil 2 remake from last year. I picked it up late in the year, so I haven't had a lot of time to play it. It's really good. So if you're a Resident Evil fan, if you're a fan of the original 3, especially, really look forward to Resident Evil 3 remake.
Yeah. And it's a remake. Is it remastered or is it?
No, it's a remake. So if you're familiar with like how they remade the Resident Evil 2, then it's along the lines of that. So it's pretty completely overhauled. The story, as far as I can tell, is pretty much the same, but it's going to be, it's like the gameplay and everything is very different from how it originally played. Yeah. All right, so Hannah, how about you talk to us about some continuations in movies?
I'm generally like not a fan of this culture of like just creating remakes and sequels all the time, but I'm very excited for some of the movies that are coming out this year.
There's also a new World of Warcraft expansion.
Stop. That's my turn.
And the Warcraft 3 remake.
Stop it. Okay, so one thing that I'm really excited about that I'm, again, haven't had a great track record, but I'm feeling very positive is Wonder Woman 1984.
Yes, I'm excited for that.
Wonder Woman is clearly better than all of the other DC movies, and we're just hoping that Wonder Woman 1984 will continue that streak.
The Dark Knight will argue with you.
Okay, that's true, but I'm talking like the recent ones.
As far as the extended universe.
Yeah. The recent Marvel stuff. I haven't seen Aquaman though.
Aquaman was good. It was good.
It's fun.
All right.
Check it out.
But apparently they're bringing Chris Pine back for Wonder Woman 1984, which is weird because he died in the last one.
Or did he?
Maybe he's a robot.
But he also doesn't look like he's aged.
Yeah, I'm thinking there's something going on there, like a robot or maybe a clone.
Besides Hollywood magic.
Someone's messing with him, or with her.
DC's like, we gotta have a Chris.
I can't remember who the villain is, but I think it's someone that is probably messing with her mind.
It's Pedro Pascal, who's the Mandalorian. He is playing Maxwell Lord in this movie.
Okay, so it's probably, if I remember him correctly, it's probably like a machine or something, right? Doesn't he do robots?
He has, but I'm not sure. I'm wondering if this is going to be another, or is it another like Greek guy going to come out of the woodwork and challenge Wonder Woman? It's hard to say.
Maybe.
Yeah. So,
but we do know the cheetah is also going to be in this one too.
Yeah.
So feeling hopeful. Pretty hopeful. Wonder Woman, the first one was good. I'm curious to see how another DC movie, Birds of Prey, is gonna be. I think that's coming out like really soon, actually.
That's,
like the new Harley Quinn thing.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
But it's like the same sort of universe as Suicide Squad, I believe.
Yeah,
because it's Margot Robbie,
which was not well received, and I haven't seen.
But she was well received.
Okay, so maybe.
So that's why they're taking her and making a movie.
Sorry, you mean the Academy Award-winning Suicide Squad?
Yeah, that one.
Anyway, I'm always down for a good like girl power movie, so I'm hoping that that's going to be a fun one.
Yeah.
And speaking of girl power movies, we got Black Widow coming out.
Which is
gonna be awesome. And I saw somewhere that it was like a prequel, but it seems like kind of smack in the middle of the MCU timeline.
It is.
Yeah, my understanding is that it's
not before
after
everything.
My understanding is that it's after Civil War, but before Infinity War.
Well, clearly before Infinity War.
Right.
Why clearly before Infinity War?
Because
she was alive at the end of Infinity War.
Yeah, but Infinity War, it didn't happen between Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah, it could have. That was speculation for the longest time that it was within that 5 years.
No, it makes more sense for it being the 2 years because
I agree, and that's what I'm saying. But I'm just saying it's not necessarily obvious to everybody.
Pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Okay. It's pretty obvious.
Yeah. Don't make sure you know. Don't make sure you know.
Yeah.
I'm also feeling there's a lot of movies that I'm just like really hoping they're good, and in that category falls Mulan, because that's coming out I think in the next couple months here.
That's definitely not a continuation. That's new.
Well, it's a remake.
It's a remake, yeah. Live action remake.
If you want to consider a live action remake, sure.
It's interesting because
I would consider it an adaptation.
Sure. But it's interesting because it feels like it should fall into the same category of live action remakes as like Beauty and the Beast, but it seems like it's going to be very different from the animated movie.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how that's going to go. And then the final two I want to mention are sequels that are a long time coming. We've got a Ghostbusters sequel coming out, not to like the all-female cast Ghostbusters, but like to the original Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
With Finn Wolfhard and Paul Rudd in it. So hopefully that'll be good. And then we have Bill and Ted Face the Music, which I believe does have Keanu Reeves in it.
After so long.
Yeah. He's going to be in
insane.
a lot of movies this year.
I don't know if it's going to be this year, because I know John Wick 4 and Matrix 4 are coming out like spring of 2021.
Yeah. No, they're this year,
Are they?
right? Oh, maybe.
I thought they were 2021.
No.
Maybe they're next year. Okay, you're right.
No, I haven't seen anything. I never saw anything about Matrix or John Wick 4, but
those are both coming out the same day.
Bill and Ted coming out. Yeah.
Do I want to watch Keanu or do I want to watch Keanu?
The answer is yes.
You go to the movie theater, you get tickets for both, see them one after another. It's a double feature day.
Yeah.
I got some John Wick to catch up on.
People are just going to switch theaters.
Nice to see you. So hopefully, I mean, I don't know what to expect from Bill and Ted Face the Music, but I'm excited and will most likely be seeing it with my dad.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm excited too. I'll see it with your dad as well.
Okay, well, I'll go see it with my dad. It'll be great. Cool. I think that's all I've got, unless you guys got anything else to add. There's some horror continuations, but
Quiet Place, A Quieter Place, I like to call it. Quiet Place 2 is coming out in March.
Which I watched the trailer for, and it made me want to go watch the first one, because I haven't seen the first one.
Yeah, I haven't seen the first one either. I haven't seen the trailer for the second one.
Oh yeah, check it out. It's a different horror movie, especially if you're looking at if you make a sound, you are killed.
What's the one? Yeah, what's the one where they wear blindfolds the whole time?
Bird Box.
Okay, because I kept getting them confused. Because in this one we can't make sound, and in this one we can't look at anything.
See no evil, hear no evil.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we need for the next one. We need Speak No Evil.
Right.
Yeah.
And apparently, recently they came out with a Grudge remake, but I don't know how well that was received.
Not well at all.
It didn't seem like it was well received. But like I said, horror movies rarely are.
Yeah.
So.
But we have some dark anti-hero movies. Sony's got Venom 2 coming out, and Morbius. Morbius. Yeah, Morbius.
Yeah, I saw that.
I saw that. I don't know what that is.
He's a vampire, and watch the trailer. You'll see how he kind of gets his groove. Starts. Goes from A to B. But it should be like just a fun movie. Sony's just playing with their Marvel toys.
Apparently has Matt Smith in it.
The ones they have. Yes, he's in there.
Cool. I like him.
They're coming out. This isn't a remake or this isn't a continuation of any sorts, but I saw a trailer for Bloodshot the other day.
I saw that too, but I'm, again, not super familiar with what that is.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about it. It kind of looks a little boring to me, but
that's the one with Vin Diesel, right?
Yeah, it's one that I hope will be better than it looks. I don't know much about it. I think it's based on like a Vertigo comic.
I gotta be completely honest. Every time I see Vin Diesel's face, I just kind of disregard the movie. Because I just feel like he's in the same movie every time.
See, I mean,
I'm sorry.
Don't tell him. Don't tell him.
I like Vin Diesel because of, but really mainly because of Pitch Black and Chronicles of Riddick and Riddick.
I don't know what any of those are.
Those are great movies. I would recommend them. Okay, and I just got to say, Hannah, real quick before we move on to TV shows, James Bond, No Time to Die.
I forgot. There's so many movies. I got excited about the New Mutants and then the Wonder Womans and
whatever. But that'll be a fun thing, a cool thing. I think it's Daniel Craig's last one. So I'm excited for it. But yeah. All right. What you got for us for continuations on TV, Josh?
I imagine there's probably a lot.
Well, it's, beginning of the year. We usually don't get a lot of new shows announced until the summer, and they usually have premieres in the fall. But we have a mix of ending and returning shows, kind of sequels, continuations, yada yada. We'll get to the returning those first. Star Trek Picard airs January 23rd, and it's a continuation of Picard's story where it left off.
I'm so excited.
Yeah,
sorry, nobody.
I don't know where I'm gonna watch it, but I'm gonna find it somewhere.
CBS All Access. I think it's where it's supposed to air, or maybe in CBS. I would hope.
I'm so happy.
Yeah. What are you looking forward to seeing?
Honestly, just Patrick Stewart again. Like anytime, I just love Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
And he's getting old.
He's
been old for a long time, and now he's getting like
forever.
old.
I didn't think he was that old when I saw him in Logan. I thought he was just kind of playing the part, but he old.
So it's gonna be interesting to see him again, playing the same character that like I really did grow up with, and thought he was old then, but now I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But
he still has
he's a great dude.
He still had a little spark in him when he was saying engage, and that was like,
as a 7-year-old, I'm like, he's bald, he must be old.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. All bald people are old.
Yeah,
I was bald last year for a bit. So I was old.
Or you were old spiritually, weren't you, Hunter?
Yes, and physically and emotionally.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one to watch. See all the Trekkies, falling at Picard returning. Another Star Wars, Star Trek. Sorry.
Oh my God, Josh!
Kick him out of the group.
You have your nerd card revoked.
Yeah. Yep.
Can I just get a punch?
You gotta go to the back of the line and get a new one.
Can I just get a punch? I don't think I haven't had any punches yet. I can just get a punch in my card.
Oh, I thought you meant like a punch to your face or something. Hannah, you might be closer to him. You go do it.
I might see. Next time y'all see me,
we'll punch you in the face.
Okay. Y'all can discuss punishment there. Okay. But Star Trek has a web show called Star Trek Lower Decks, and it's telling the story of these. I'm not sure if they're stowaways or they're just just kind of just grunts that work on the engine, and they sleep in the lower decks of the ship. And it's supposed to be an adult animated comedy show.
Interesting.
Yeah. I haven't heard of that. Yeah, I thought it was. I've never heard of anything like that. That could be like a a Rick and Morty or Harley Quinn style show that could take place in the Star Trek universe. Usually, they're all, from what I've seen, they're all kind of serious. They don't really delve into adult humor too much.
Not the first time Star Trek's been animated, though.
Right. I know the Orville did something kind of similar, but in live action, they're kind of a parody of Star Trek. But this will be a fun show.
Although they're not really. The Orville wants to be a parody. They're pretty much just another Star Trek.
Gotcha. But yeah, this will be a funny thing to watch if you love Star Trek and you follow the show. And it's like, and then they can make as many funny references that all the jokes that you haven't heard yet or you made in your head. Another reboot revival is Animaniacs.
I heard about that.
Yeah, they're going to be on.
I forgot about it.
Yeah, they're going to be on Hulu this fall. I remember watching Animaniacs as a kid, and then seeing. It was really fun meeting Rob Paulson last year at Comic-Con. Yeah. He still does the voice perfectly, and I think they were just really, really excited to just be in the booth, hanging out together. Him and the other two. And just doing the characters and doing new stuff. And they have a lot of things to talk about over what has been how many years since the show ended?
Many
moons. Yep. Let's see. We got a reboot of the Boondocks. Which
I remember.
I don't know
about that.
I'm a little surprised that they're doing a reboot.
Yeah, me too.
Instead of just doing like another season. We're used to most of us are used to like long waits between seasons of, adult animated shows or, certain animated shows.
Rick and Morty.
And
they kind of like they came back with a new Samurai Jack a few years ago, right? And that wasn't like a reboot, but that was like a continuation, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was continuation, but
just let me know when they bring back Teen Titans.
But they ended it with that last season. That was their whole goal with Samurai Jack. It's like, let's finish the story because we never finished it last time.
Yeah.
I can now say I've actually watched some Teen Titans Go, and it's okay.
I have too. I did on my cruise because it was like one of 10 channels.
It's not.
Yeah. See, it's okay. But it's not. You still don't get the same satisfaction as you would with Teen Titans.
I figure if I'm going to read
6.
Teen Titans fan fiction, like Teen Titans Go isn't that much worse.
Oh.
I'm kidding.
Yeah. I'm not ready to jump into that pool.
I'm adding fan fiction to a future topic.
Well, so Josh, are there any? I'm not sure if I've I'm not in the loop really much anymore about the CW like Arrowverse shows. Are they coming out with any new ones of those? Because I know they just came out with Batwoman last year. Are they doing another one of those?
Well, like I mentioned the Superman and Lois, and was a spinoff of Supergirl, but it's kind of it's a new show, even though it's kind of a spinoff. Same thing with Walking Dead, but it's a brand new show.
Yeah, but nothing else with that kind of thing that's going to tie in, as far as we know, directly to, like, that'll be another crossover.
Superman and Lois, yes, especially if you watch, like I said, if you watch Crisis. Stargirl might, but I'm doubting it. They might do their own thing, but they could in the future. I can see it happening.
All right.
Yeah, they have to let themselves get off the ground. Sorry, another reboot show, Thundercats. If anyone's interested, I know there's some fans that liked the old show. They didn't like the reboot that happened in 2011, so I guess they're trying again to see if they can still get those fans back, interested. And a revival, a live action remake, Avatar, on Netflix, especially Avatar: The Last Airbender is supposed to be coming on Netflix this year.
Yeah,
this is me being excited again.
Yes, very excited to see if they can make it as
redeem the unspeakable.
We don't talk about the unspeakable.
It's unspeakable.
It's unspeakable.
If they can make it as iconic as the animated show was, with the technology they have now, I'm down to check it out.
Well, at this point, I feel like if anybody can do it, Netflix can do it, because they've had a pretty good track record with some of these new TV shows.
Oh yeah.
Like every now and then they have one that has not done well, but I feel like I've watched a lot of
Witcher
stuff.
just did pretty well.
Oh yeah, The Witcher was really good.
The Witcher has killed it.
Very enjoyable.
And people are ecstatic about more of The Witcher.
Yeah. Now I don't know how true it was to the original stories, but it seems like people are.
It kind of was, like, in terms of the book. It's just to make it into a show, they kind of had to mash some stuff up, and it's a little confusing with the timeline. But yeah.
But honestly,
they did a better job than I was concerned that they would.
Honestly, I feel like my biggest thing with Avatar is the characters, because that's really what they missed last time.
Yeah. Didn't care about the characters. They just focused on like the animation and getting a story that fit in a hour and a half time slot. Yeah,
but you need the characters in order to have the wonderful mix of like deep but lighthearted at the same time.
Thank you. But last but not least, we have our ending shows. These shows have had their season runs, and they are ending this year. Hunter was talking about Arrowverse, and the start of the Arrowverse, Arrow, is ending this year. They had 10 episodes for this last season, season 8, and they have episode 9 coming out, I think next week, and episode 10. So that'll be it for Arrow. And the start of the that whole universe, and it was I've enjoyed watching it since it came out, and I'll be checking out the finale.
I am not caught up.
Yeah, me neither. Remotely. I still have plenty before it goes away for me.
Yeah,
I got like 6 seasons apparently.
It'll be on Netflix, and there'll be there's some hits and misses with the show, but overall, it's a fun watch. It's a fun to kind of see the good and the bad.
Above average.
Yeah. Another super long running show on CW, Supernatural, is ending after 15
Finally.
seasons.
Is it actually ending?
From what I've heard and read, 15 seasons, and that's it.
Finally.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never watched that show, and I think it's overhyped.
I think I got through season 10 or something. So I tried, guys. I tried. But then they were like, season 13. I'm out. Too much. But Jensen Ackles is still beautiful.
Okay.
They're good. They're good guys.
He is objectively beautiful. He has one of the most symmetrical faces out there. Scientifically proven to be.
Look at her throwing science into her crushing on somebody.
Exactly.
He's beautiful.
Well, I'm disappointed because BoJack Horseman is ending this year, really soon actually. The second half of the final season comes out in like a week or so.
Yeah, the back 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm sad to see it go.
It's gonna be okay.
No, it won't.
I'm in that
Especially
weird
they also
zone.
canceled Tuca and Birdie.
I'm in that weird zone with a lot of my shows that I'm
okay.
watching right now, where I'm like, I think they're going on, but no one's announced the next season yet, so maybe they're not. Maybe they're just like, yeah, that's the end.
Yep.
But I'm pretty sure most of the things I watch are coming back.
Yeah, most of them. On the Marvel side of things, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is ending this year after 7 seasons. They were a good companion show to watch as the movie started gaining steam after Avengers came out, and they got into they were in the middle of phase 2, kind of dealing with the effects of the movie's events. But they, spoiler alert for season 6, they kind of went off the books for after Endgame to do their own thing, to tell their own story. And then they'll be, I think they might be going back to be doing like an interesting kind of retrospective look in this last season. It'll be sad to see them go. I've enjoyed watching, especially Greg, Phil Coulson, seeing his character kind of come back and lead the team, and he's a really good character.
Yeah. I haven't seen. I haven't kept up with that since I don't even know what season, like 3 or 4 probably.
I've never seen an episode.
Yeah. They were doing the Inhumans stuff, and I don't remember how far into that I got.
Yeah. Their Inhumans is better than the actual Inhumans show. Yeah,
that's what I heard. I saw like the first trailer for the Inhumans show, and I'm like, this looks terrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was not well received.
Yeah.
They but the whole thing was they didn't have the X-Men, so they kind of had to use Inhumans and make something out of that. But it was still pretty good. They still did a good job.
Yeah.
And another couple shows. Lucifer is ending this year. It was after 5 seasons. They got revived by Netflix for their 4th season after it got canceled by Fox. And it'll be they'll finish out I think this summer probably. Vikings, more of a historical, from what I've heard, it's a kind of a more historical show. But it's still, it was a lot of people followed the show and are going to be sad to see it go.
No.
So
yeah,
that's all we know for 20.
Never watched any of it.
There's like a gazillion other shows starting and ending and movies coming out and yada yada, but we only had like less than an hour, so we tried.
Yeah.
These are the things that we were interested in.
Yeah, that's why I suggested each of you do honorable mentions, but nobody listened to me as a separate video.
Yeah, but if I don't care about it, I don't care about it.
Yeah, but you mentioned a lot of things. It's not about what you don't care about. It's about what you care less about and you think will take more time. Anyways, that's a little list of what we're looking forward to.
2020.
For 2020, yep. Have a lot more beyond that as well, but that's for another time. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this season as we begin, and we'll see you each week, hopefully, until the end of time.
Well, I think we're going to take a break over the summer.
Yeah, whatever.
And we'll take a break next millennia.
Yes.
Thanks, guys. We might need to rewrite my contract.
You have no contract. Okay. Thanks, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Next week, we're talking about something. I don't know what, but you'll find out then.
Yeah, and so will we.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.